Here's the unfortunate reality for Canadians right now. Unemployment is up. The economy is contracting. Jobs are scarce. Housing starts are down. And the economy for the foreseeable future will be in difficult straits as President Donald Trump's tariffs continue to have a biting impact. That is why now is the time to go all in on making Canada an energy superpower. But unfortunately, we have a government in Ottawa that is all talk and no action. Now, clearly, there is an improvement over the previous Trudeau government. The Trudeau government kept saying there was no business case, for example, to send Canadian liquefied natural gas to Europe. Now, the Carney government seems to disagree, at least in rhetoric. The Carney government is saying, and Energy Minister Tim Hodgson recently said in Europe in a trip to Germany, that Canada is interested in sending liquefied natural gas to Germany and Europe. However, he put some conditions on that. He said that any energy project that the Carney government would be looking at would have to have buy-in from Indigenous communities that are affected and the provinces that are affected by a particular project. Now, of course, over the years, it's been very difficult to get some Indigenous communities to buy in, particularly because governance is so dispersed. But the real concern here is that he's talking again, as Carney has repeatedly talked about the need for provincial buy-in for a project to go forward. But here's the thing. Most of the most viable projects to get Canadian oil and natural gas to market largely leave through Alberta and would go through British Columbia and would be sent on tankers or pipelines through British Columbia and then on tankers to get to markets in Europe and Asia. Now, those are some of the most promising leads we have as a country to get our resources to market and get our economy moving and create jobs and create more GDP and also ensure that we are less reliant on the United States. The problem is we have a government in British Columbia that is decisively anti-development. They have a emissions cap in place in that province, and they also have a ban on tankers. And BC Premier David Eby has been very clear that he's willing to stand in the way of projects that make a lot of sense and that would get our energy, natural resources to market. So here's the problem. The Carney government can't repeatedly say that they're in favor of developing Canada's natural resources while handing a veto to Canada's most anti-energy premier, David Eby, who could stand in the way of all of the most viable projects. So what we need going forward is a Carney government that is committing to developing our natural resources, but not giving vetoes to particular provinces. And the reason for that is in Canada's constitution, if a project crosses provincial boundaries, it is a federal issue. It is no longer a provincial issue, and the federal government can move forward on a project even if there is opposition from a provincial government like David Eby's NDP in British Columbia. So moving forward, if Carney really wants to be serious about getting our economy in better shape, taking on the Trump administration, making sure Canada's economy is going to grow, what we need to see from the Carney government is ignoring the BC NDP and making sure that Canada's most viable projects move forward, go through British Columbia, and actually get our resources to market to places like Asia and Europe so that we can diversify our economy and enrich Canada for all Canadians.